we're joined by one member of that Security Cabinet, Naftali Bennett, who's the Economy Minister. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Sure.
Can I start by asking you, the US President, the UN Security Council, the UN Secretary-General are all calling for an immediate ceasefire, yet right now we seem to be seeing escalation, military escalation on the ground. Are you still prepared to discuss a ceasefire?
Well, that's because Hamas 5 times would not cease their fire. Again and again, Israel stopped firing, and Hamas continued firing rockets into Israel. What we need now is to achieve the ultimate goal, which is to live side by side peacefully, Gaza and Israel. But for that to happen, Hamas needs to disarm itself from rockets and from tunnels, terror tunnels.
You say Hamas is not obeying the ceasefires, but the most substantial proposal was this one that came from John Kerry, the US an ally of Israel. Why didn't you accept his plan?
Because what we need ultimately is to achieve a disarmed Hamas, and anything else that leaves Hamas with weapons means that a week from now or 2 months from now, again, Israeli citizens will get hundreds or perhaps thousands of rockets on their homes. You know, over 2,000 rockets were shot by Hamas onto Israel, including in my hometown of Ra'anana. This is unacceptable. In London, I assume you would not accept incurring 2,000 missiles, nor do we. We're human beings. We don't like getting shot at.
Tell me, sir, why is Israel's military campaign going so wrong?
It's actually going well.
Well, hang on.
Fighting,
you say it's going well. 256 children, 96 women, 50 elderly men. You didn't aim, I hope you didn't aim to kill all those innocent civilians.
Of course not. We didn't aim, Hamas did. Hamas places its women and children next to missile launchers. It puts the missile launchers in schools. Quite a few times the UN has found missile launchers in schools, in hospitals, in the most cynical and cowardly way. But if we want to put a stop to that, you know how we can do it? You know who stands behind Hamas? It's Qatar, the owner of your own station. Qatar is funding Hamas with over $250 million. They're funding daily murders of Israeli children and Gazan children. And what we need is for Qatar to stop funding Hamas, to stop funding ISIS, to stop funding Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra. And I think the best way to pressure Qatar is to say, if you don't stop, we're going to take your World Cup away.
Well,
we have to stop that.
When children are dying, I don't want to...
A World Cup in Qatar would be a prize to terror. We need to stop that. I'm talking about the owners of your own station.
I know you want to talk about Qatar, but I don't want to talk about football when children are dying.
Yeah, but Qatar is behind this
Qatar and their foreign minister were meeting with the Turkish foreign minister and John Kerry in Paris over the weekend. Aren't they part of the solution?
Yeah, that's very interesting. With one arm you fund terror, and the other arm you speak about peace. Stop funding terror. You know where Mashal resides? Khalid Mashal, the head of Hamas, he resides in Qatar. You don't host a mega terrorist and then talk about peace. You don't get it both ways. If you're the world's greatest funder of terrorists, you can't be part of the solution. You're the problem.
You, sir, like many Israeli politicians, did your time in the military. I believe you're a major. You know that the military have things called area weapons, shelling from the sea, shelling by land. Why are you using these indiscriminate weapons when you actually have sophisticated pinpoint technology?
We're doing something that no one else does. We send leaflets, we send text messages warning people that right now in their home there's a missile launcher and we're going to get it because we're being shot there. We give them advance warning. No one else does this.
And we lose.
Hold on. We lose our tactical advantage. We pay a very heavy price for doing this, yet we do it. I don't recall that the UK does it in Afghanistan. I don't recall anywhere in the world where someone warns in advance what we're going to attack. The fact is that Hamas, cynically and so cowardly, if I may add, places their women and children to protect the missiles while we try and thwart the missiles to protect women and children. That's the whole difference.
But if you know there are women and children there and you have sophisticated technology, you have aircraft, you have drones, why are you unleashing the bombs and killing, to date, 256 children?
Our sole goal is to make this whole thing go away, to stop this conflict, to disarm Hamas. You want it to go away? If Hamas announces right now, in 10 seconds, that they'll disarm and stop shooting at us, no more conflict. They started, they continue. We're not looking for fighting with Gaza. I'll remind you, we pulled out of Gaza 9 years ago. Back to the 67 lines. The whole world wanted us to do it. We did it. There's not one Jew residing in Gaza anymore. Yet, Hamas chose to turn Gaza into a fortress of terror instead of a place of thriving economy. It's not too late. They can still make that decision.
You're a father of four. What do you think when you see those pictures of all these dead children? As I say, I keep raising the figure, but it's a horrific number, 256.
I think it's terrible, and I think it's despicable that Hamas uses its own children.
But they're your bombs that are killing them.
We're shooting at Hamas. It's Hamas who's using them as human shields. And that's it's a crime, it's a war crime, and it's despicable. I'll remind you that the UK, United Kingdom in World War II, 20 times more Germans were killed in World War II than even America.
Let me ask you
no one disputes that Germany was wrong. So is Hamas. You don't start shooting rockets at Israel and expect that we'll just sit back supinely and wait to die.
Let me ask you one final question. Because you're talking about war crimes. Let me quote what Navé Pillay, the top human rights official in the world, says. There seems to be a strong possibility that international humanitarian law has been violated in a manner that could amount to war crimes. She was talking about Israeli actions when she said this. Do you worry how history will judge you? You sit in that security cabinet. Do you think one day you'll be judged a war criminal?
I'm very concerned about how history will judge us, in the sense that it's in our hands to keep the Jewish state alive, to protect ourselves against hundreds of millions of radical Islamists that want to wipe us off the earth, including, I guess, the station that you represent. And history will judge us if we're feeble, if we're not strong enough, if we're not determined to win and beat terror.
Naftali Bennett, Economy Minister of Israel, a member of the Security Cabinet of Israel. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.